forgiveness for me means I want you out of my head.
Yeah.
I want you out of my head. I don't want to think about you. I don't want to I don't want to go into a bakery and smell chocolate chip cookies and be triggered because now I'm thinking of my ex
Yeah.
or my mother or whoever. I want the
Yes.
triggers to
Yes.
go away. And when I
Uh-huh.
forgive you, I want you to stay forgiven. I don't want to have to go to a party and get triggered and now I'm mad all over again, all of a sudden, all over again. So my system is designed to help people stay forgiven because the secret sauce to the whole method is energy. Einstein correctly proved that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just transforms from one thing to another. He also said that everything in our world has energy around it, including this little silver microphone. Everything has energy around it. So the reason people aren't staying forgiven and you keep getting triggered over and over, even though you've done the work and you forgave them, is because you didn't forgive the energy field around them.
Welcome to your Wordless podcast, the space where we redefine success, self-worth, and transformation. I am Nick Nieras, the soul-centered architect of transformation, helping you unlock your highest potential and build a legacy beyond limits. Now, whether it is self-mastery, career breakthroughs, or wealth creation, this is where change begins. Now let's dive in. Can you share with us what was it like growing up as a Catherine Giovanni?
Well, I think to be a forgiveness coach, you have to have an awful lot of its opposite in your life. So, needless to say, there's a lot of water under my bridge. And it started in the eighth grade when I was horribly bullied. And my parents were both very pickled people, meaning they were both alcoholics. And I tried to commit suicide because of all the stuff that was going on. So I turned into one of those kids. You know, those teenagers I'm talking about. Everybody has them. And I just kind of bounced through life aimlessly, to be honest, until my mother fell down a flight of stairs, broke her hip, and ended up in the hospital. And even my mother couldn't get a gin and tonic in the hospital. So she dried out. And we became closer than sisters. We were tight. We forgave each other. We did everything together. It was the most beautiful, joyful relationship. And then she died of breast cancer 3 years later. And I realized right then that if I didn't change my life, I was going to die too. So the only New Year's resolution I actually ever kept was I quit drinking, and I've now been sober. What year is it? I've been sober 35 years. And I kind of, I was painfully shy back then. I'm an extroverted introvert now because I taught myself how to do it. But back then, you go through AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and they want you to do these steps, and you have to reach out to people and make amends. Okay, we didn't have text messaging back then. I would have happily texted people saying, I'm sorry, but they want you to freaking call them. Yes, no,
Oh my
not going to
God.
happen. So I just kind of paid lip service to it, by myself saying, I apologize and that kind of thing. And, I forgive you. And it didn't have any energy behind it. And then I went into the concierge industry and I started teaching customer service. And I realized, I could teach you the most beautiful words to say and I could teach you all the stuff. But if you're angry, it's going to bleed through your body language, whether you want it to or not. So I had to come up with a method of getting people to release their anger, especially if they couldn't leave their station. And that's when I came up with my first try at a forgiveness technique.
Hi, I'm Nick Nieras, your host of the Your Wordless podcast. Now, if these real raw stories hit home, don't wait. Please follow, like, and subscribe my Spotify and YouTube. For bite-sized inspirational reels, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Don't wait, your transformation starts today. Thank you, and bye for now.
And it wasn't until many years later, around 2020, I actually figured out the step-by-step system I have today. And the thing about forgiveness is everybody tells you to forgive. Everybody. Your parents, your teachers, everybody. Nobody teaches you how. How? And what if I don't want to? What if it's unforgivable? Then what do you do? So my system is designed, and I go through the whole system for you if you like. My system is designed to help you forgive even the unforgivable.
Really? Okay, now you got me intrigued. Okay, so let's backtrack a bit. So your late mom fell down a flight of stairs, and then she broke her hips, and then that's when you guys made amends and basically forgave each other. But what was it then? Like, what was the resentment that you had towards her or towards life that made you feel like, oh, and made you even had that suicidal, ideation?
Oh, everybody's life, hindsight is 2020, and in everybody's life, 10 out of 10 people, you can look back at your life and you can see the what I call a flashpoint. And it's when you decide to change from one thing into another. And we all have them. It might be a teacher that changed your life, but we all have that one age that we can look back and say, yeah, that was a pivotal year. That was the year before my mother died, I was angry. I was angry that they were alcoholics. I was angry that I was always being bullied because I was different. I'm very intuitive, and that made me very different from everybody else. And when I grew up, the world was different than it is today. It was incredibly different. Women, you don't think the world likes women now? They hated them even more in the 1970s. We were like second-class citizens back then, and it irritated me when my parents would just pat me on the head and say, well, you're just going to get married and have kids, so it doesn't matter. Don't tell me I can't do something because I didn't want to do it before, but now I want to do it just to stick it to you. So that always really
Yeah.
irritated me. And so I would go to my room and read. I was a voracious reader. I read everything I could get my hands on. And when I got into college, I've written 12 books, and I had a knack for writing. So the essay always got me through because I knew I could nail the essay, but the other stuff maybe. But the anger was there. I was just angry at how I was being treated. I was angry about being bullied. It was all those kinds of things. And then when we finally forgave each other, the forgiveness allowed me to see the world a little differently. And when you're angry, you're sick and you're tired, and you're your story. I carried my story around like pride. I'm a suicide survivor. I survived alcohol. Look at me. Look how great I was. And then as I grew up and got older, I realized everything kind of shifted.
Hey love, it is Nick Nieras here, and if you've been feeling stuck, burnt out, or like you're meant for more, but don't know where to begin, I have got something for you. This isn't just about mindset work, it's about deep soul healing, subconscious rewiring, and remembering who you really are. Now, I created a free self hypnosis audio to help you release the noise and reconnect your inner truth. In just 10 minutes, you will feel the shift immediately, I promise. And if you are ready to go deeper, explore my digital guides designed to help you overcome fear, activate your confidence, and find clarity in your next move. They are your next step before full transformation. But if your soul is saying, I am ready, then apply for a one-to-one coaching with me. This is where we do the real work, transforming your blocks, aligning your life, and unlocking the confident, magnetic version of you that creates wealth your way. Head to the show notes now. Your new chapter starts with one small yes. Now let's get back to the video you're watching.
But the thing about forgiveness, there's a couple principles about forgiveness and a couple of misconceptions. First of all, just because I forgive you doesn't mean I want a relationship with you. I probably don't. You're still wrong. You still have to make amends. Just because and this is 10 out of 10 people think the following. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean I'm giving in and you were all of a sudden right. That trips everybody up. And I think that stems from when we were kids and the teacher says, now forgive each other and go off and play. And I think we all connected some unseen dots that should never have been connected. Because just because I forgive you, you're still wrong. You're still a dumpster fire. I still don't want a relationship with you. And you probably still have amends to make. Forgiveness for me means I want you out of my head.
Yeah.
I want you out of my head. I don't want to think about you. I don't want to go into a bakery and smell chocolate chip cookies and be triggered because now I'm thinking of my ex
Yes.
or my mother or whoever. I want the
Yes.
triggers to
Yes.
go away. And when I
Uh-huh.
forgive you, I want you to stay forgiven. I don't want to have to go to a party and get triggered and now I'm mad all over again, all of a sudden, all over again. So my system is designed to help people stay forgiven because the secret sauce to the whole method is energy. Einstein correctly proved that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just transforms from one thing to another. He also said that everything in our world has energy around it, including this little silver microphone. Everything has energy around it. So the reason people aren't staying forgiven and you keep getting triggered over and over, even though you've done the work and you forgave them, is because you didn't forgive the energy field around them.
Oh my God. Okay, you hit the nail right in the head. Okay, now tell me, what is this system? Yes.
Yep.
Okay, Catherine, how do we forgive somebody? Even though, gone back through the root cause of it, let go of the subconscious of why you feel a certain way towards a person or a situation that happened to you. But somehow, when you think about it, you have that feeling of regret. At least that's how I feel.
Everybody does.
Yeah. So, okay. So tell me, can you please unpack it?
Sure. On a 10 scale, everybody, including you, is thinking this. On a 10 scale, with 10 being unforgivable and 1 being the easiest person in the world to forgive, every single one of you were thinking that number 10 person. And that's fair. It's the one person or memory that absolutely wrecked your world and hurt you the most. So when you read the word forgiveness, that's who you think. And many people are thinking, I don't want to forgive that person, so I'm not going to forgive. That's the problem. So my system is designed to start with the easy ones. The person who tripped you in school, the person who cut you off in the grocery store on aisle 4, the person who stole your sandwich, the person who stained your sweater, the person who stole your parking spot. Easy people. Maybe your football team lost last week. Forgive them too. I mean, the easy people. So I want everybody, and I'm going to talk about how to forgive the unforgivable because that's what everybody wants to know. But I want you to sit down with a pad of paper and a pen. And I know the young people listening to this are going to want to do it on their phone or their iPad. I get it. But there's been thousands of studies done that when you think it and you put it on paper and it travels down your arm onto a paper with a regular pen, it stays more for some reason. It sticks as opposed to the other way. And there's been studies proving it. So grab a pen and a piece of paper and write down everybody you think you want to forgive. And I know your number 10s are going to be at the top of the list. I get it. But have no judgment. Write everybody's name down. Even if you write a name and you don't know why you wrote that name, do it anyways, because it's your unconscious coming through. Then I want you to rate the people from 1 to 10. Now, you could have 9 number 4s. I don't care. You could skip a number. I also don't care. The thing I care about the most is you start forgiving the 1s and you work your way up to the 10s. And my mantra is really simple. You don't have to hold any crystals, unless you like crystals, go for it. You don't have to burn any incense, unless your room stinks and you really want to burn incense, whatever you want, that's fine with me. But my mantra is I completely forgive Nick. I forgive the energy around Nick. I completely forgive myself. I forgive the energy around myself. I completely forgive the energy around the entire thing. And so it is. Amen. Go with God. End it any way you like. And I want you to put your hand in your heart and say it from your heart. But the words are just for us. It's the energy behind the words that mean the most. And then after you say that, check in with your body. Are you still angry? Is that 1 and now a 0? Great. Cross them off the list. Was it a number 3 person and it's down to a 2? Great. Wait 24 hours. Do it again. This happened to a friend of mine. Her number 3 person jumped to a 7, and she was even more angry once she did it. So what happened?
Right.
Your brain is a beautiful tool, and it protects you. And it unlocked that back closet in the back of her brain. And it was like, oh, wow, well, Catherine's ready for this. I'm going to flood her with memories that she's forgotten. It's going to piss her off. Okay. Well, now you've got a whole bunch of new memories surrounding this person you thought was a number 3. And I don't want you to do more than 10 a night. Now, the unforgivable, they're a bear. That's why I want you to do them last. They're a bear. They hurt you. And there are some things in this world that are unforgivable, completely unforgivable. And I acknowledge that. I'm the only one in the world that will probably tell you, you do not have to forgive the unforgivable. You don't. And the reason you don't have to forgive them is because there's a lot of people, places, and things, and I did say places and things, don't log off, stay with me, that you can forgive before you even get to that dumpster fire. So To forgive the unforgivable, I'm going to have you pick apart the memory. In other words, because everything in our world has energy around it. Let's take one of my own, it's number 10s. It was the bully in school. And I picked apart the memory, but I wasn't ready to forgive the bully. In fact, I was so angry, I didn't even want to forgive the energy. I didn't. I just didn't want to do it. So I picked apart the memory. And every time I would drive by that school, I would get triggered. Why? Because the energy was triggering me. So I forgave the school building and the energy around the building. I forgave the desk that I sat at, the energy around the desk. I forgave the chair. I'm not kidding. Forgave the chair I was sitting in, the energy around the chair, the table, the desk, the park, the people that stood around and didn't help, and the energy around them. I forgave the city, the town, the date. Everything is forgivable. And I still haven't forgiven that bully. But all of releasing all of that energy from that memory got the 10 down to a 9. So you wait 24 hours and you do it again, and maybe you can do it again, and maybe the 9 goes down to an 8. Forgiveness is like an onion. Every time you make a pass, even if you don't think you made a dent, you did. Because it's like the law of gravity. It's going to work whether you believe it in or not. It's just going to work. And you just forgave the first layer. And your brain is going to acknowledge that, and it's going to probably open some back, closet doors for you, and you're going to remember more things.
Wow. So are you saying that number 10, I forgive the energy, say I used to go out to this park that with my ex. So I forgive the park.
Mhm. Yeah, if you can't forgive your ex, and that's
Uh-huh.
fair, you may not be able to. They might have really hurt you. That's fine. Let's use a really awful example. Let's say you were raped. I mean, that's the ultimate of unforgivable. You're never going to forgive the rapist. I know very few people who can do that. There's probably a couple unicorn people on the planet that can. I'm not that perfect. Not going to happen. And I may not even want to forgive the energy around this person. Because remember, in the back of our heads, we all have that childhood thought, well, if I forgive them, it means I'm giving in, and it means they were right, and maybe they didn't hurt me. No, it doesn't. Forgiveness means you're the prisoner. It's in, whoever hurts you is just living their lives. They're not thinking about you. As women, we want them to be as miserable as we are, our exes, right? We don't want them to go dating again, and we don't want them to be living happily. We want them to be miserable because we're miserable. We're eating a pint of Ben and Jerry's ice cream in our apartment with the lights off. We want them to be miserable, but they're not. We're the ones miserable. Buddha has the most amazing quote. It's my favorite quote in the world. And anger and hatred is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. That's what we're doing to ourselves. And here's what we're doing physically. There's a saying out there that says anger is toxic. Okay.
Okay.
A bite? How?
Yeah.
Why? Why is anger making me sick? Okay, here's the how. There's a study done in Japan. You can Google it. It's called the Japanese water study. It's right online by a guy named something like that, but it's right online. If you just say
I think.
that's the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And in the interest of time, I'll say this really, really simply. He took several containers of water. One container of water, all he did was talk to it. And he spoke these loving words to it. Just that's all he did. He just spoke to it. The other container, he spoke hate, absolute hatred, did nothing but speak these horrible, horrible words. Then he froze the water and he put them under a microscope. The water he spoke love to had these beautiful snowflakey kind of formations. The pictures are beautiful. The water he spoke hate to had these black and brown kind of malformations. Why am I telling you this? The human body is 95% water. So when you have bad self-talk and you're holding on to hatred and anger, what do you think you're doing to the water cells within your own body? You're literally making yourself sick.
Exactly. This is often overlooked. That is not the first time I've heard of it before. But then when something comes up or something happens, and then you combine that with your previous experience, though you have already quote unquote forgiven, but then sometimes it comes in waves, and then
It does.
yeah,
And the
then you
waves are
feel
awful. They
helpless.
pummel you, they flatten you to the ground. The waves are
Exactly.
horrific.
And you feel helpless. So, and then you have to be aware of it again now that you're a tad bit wiser than you were 2 years, 3 years ago. But then somehow you're still trying. You're still trying. So how do you actually, now that you have, let's say somebody who's gotten through all of your system, your strategies, right? So
Mhm.
how do they start forging their their path forward? Like, okay, I've forgiven Catherine. Now what next?
Let me give you a visual. And for anybody listening to this broadcast, I'll talk you through it so you'll be able to get it. I can look back at my dysfunctional fifth, and before I could pick out all the horrible stories and I could regurgitate all of those stories. I'm using that word purposely because it's awful. Now I look back at my past now that I've forgiven everybody, and this is a marathon, not a sprint. You can't get a number 10 down to a 1 overnight. It's going to take a minute. It's going to take you a while to go from a 10 to a 9 to an 8, right? That's why I want you to start with the easy ones, because you can easily toss those. So here's what happens when you do it. And before I forget, you've forgiven somebody when you can look at their name or meet him in the party and you don't care. You'll see their name and it usually triggers you, and all of a sudden, you're just going to sit there and go, wait, I don't care. That's brilliant. That's peace. You don't care. You don't care good. You don't care bad. You don't care. And I can look back at my childhood and I can see the love that was there now. I can see the adults that were trying to help that kid. And that kid, she did the best she could. She had to become something to survive. And she did survive. I'm still here today. So I can forgive that kid and I can forgive the people in my background. And now I can see the love. So what happens when you start to forgive? I am holding up a purple coffee cup and I'm holding it off to the side of my body. This purple coffee cup represents anger and bad self-talk. And when I first get angry, look at my body language. I can manage my anger. Hey, Nick, no problem. I got this, man. I can manage my anger. This is easy. Humans irritate other humans, don't they? So you're going to keep putting more stuff into the cup. And if you don't release any of it, it's going to start to get heavy. So now I'm using two hands to hold up the cup. My life hasn't stopped exactly, but it's starting to get into my conversations. I'm starting to dream about it at night. It's starting to bug me. And if I continue to hold on to this anger without releasing any of it, well, now I'm holding it in front of my face. My life has stopped as I know it. It's all I can think about. I'm dreaming about it. I'm talking about it. And all the stories that, even if I spin them funny, I'm still telling them. So by using my system, forgiving the 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, that's going to allow you to put the cup back over to the side again. So my life has opened up again. And now I can pay attention to the world around me. I can pay attention to that new job opportunity that I didn't see before. Why? Because I was so focused on the anger, it acts like a shield. In fact, it's acting like a shield for your intuition. Everybody on the planet is intuitive. Everybody. We either see it, feel it, know it, or sense it. But if we're angry, it's going to act like a shield and you're not going to be able to see anything. So once you start to forgive the easy ones, well, now it's still tripping me up to a certain extent, but I can see things. I'm paying attention better. I could see that new relationship. I could see that new thing, a way to lose weight, a way to cure my cancer. And if I keep forgiving, eventually my anger, it'll never be completely gone because, well, humans are humans, but there's always new, fresh material to forgive every day. But, now now I've got both hands pretty much free. Now I can really pay attention to my life and the person I came to this planet to be, that authentic person, the mission that I came down to accomplish. Now I can do it, whatever it is. And if I don't know what it is, now I can hear it because my intuition, that little bird in your shoulder, now it can talk to me because now I'm going to hear it. That's why we forgive.
Talk to me about intuition. Like, this is getting really serious and juicy. I love talking about it.
I've had the honor of writing a lot of books, and one of the books I wrote was called "A Little Bird on Your Shoulder." And I'm really intuitive. I'm clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyant, and I hid this ability for years and years and years. I'm not kidding. I'm in my 60s now, and I hid it for at least 40 years because the world was different back then. And if you even remotely exhibited a little intuition, they'd slap a "you're crazy" as a bedbug sticker on your forehead, and they'd give you medicine and throw you in the loony bin. So I kept it a secret. I didn't say anything. And I became the queen of getting messages for people and flipping the language. Did it for years. Have you ever thought about
Wait, what?
Yeah, I get
Oh,
messages for people all the time, but I will deliver the messages, but you probably won't know I'm doing it because I flipped the language, because I was hiding the fact that I was really highly intuitive. But I would get messages for people that I knew would help. So I would just frame it in a business language. Like, have you ever thought about ... You know what you should do? Here's what you should do. It'll be brilliant, that kind of thing. So when they looked at me inevitably and said, how could you possibly know that? Well, I'm in my 60s. I was in my 50s at the time. It's like, years of practice. Yeah, just a gut feeling. It wasn't a gut feeling. I heard it, but everybody on the planet can do this. I was just born with my intuition working, but everybody can do it. You either see it, feel it, know it, or sense it. Can you see your childhood bedroom in your mind right now?
Yes.
Can you see the walls?
Yes.
Okay, that's clairvoyant. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to see a ghost walk into the room like Stephen King. That's not what it means. What it means is your intuition comes through your eyes. You see the answer. You see it in the computer. You see it around the world. That's how you pay attention. You see the answer. I am also clairaudient, which means I hear the answer. I hear it in music. I hear it around me. I hear actual words coming into my head. Then there are the people who feel it. I'm that way too. You walk into a room and it just feels off.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's empathic. So and then there are the people who just know it. They're very hard to convince. They're intuitive. In fact, they're really hard because one minute they don't know it, the next minute they know it. And if you really hear it, you can hear the change in their voice. Everybody's got that mama voice in them. Yeah, they get that mama voice. It's like, don't argue with me. And I'm right. That's clairsentience. That's where they get their information. The little bird on my shoulder saved my life 3 times. Not that I'm counting. The most dramatic, I am a breast cancer survivor of 12, 13 years, something like that. And in 2011, the little bird on my shoulder told me to start jogging. Okay. I've been allergic to exercise my entire life. And you want me to what? But I couldn't get it out of my head. And I just had this feeling. You have to start jogging. You have to start jogging. So I used the Couch to 5K running program, which is right online, and it's brilliant, and it does exactly what you think it does. And I started to run, and eventually I was able to run a 5K, but the weight was coming off too fast. And I went from a size 14 down to an 8, and I knew it was coming off too fast. And when I got down to the 8, I found a lump. And the surgeon told me that because my breasts were so dense, mammograms didn't work on me. That would have been nice to know earlier, right? And the lump was in such a strange place, they would have never found it if I had not lost the weight. I would be dead. So we all can hear that little bird on our shoulder in traumatic times, in life-changing moments. But you can also hear this. You can also trust your intuition in other times as well. And you're doing it now. How about the guy you hired? He looked great. He had a suit on. His resume was perfect. He had the experience, but you ignored that feeling, said, nah, I'm crazy. And you hired him. And 3 months down the road, you go, I knew I shouldn't have done that. How many times have you said to yourself, I knew I shouldn't have done that? We've all done it. I knew I shouldn't have done that. And you're like, nuts, I should have listened. I knew I shouldn't have done that. I've done it myself. But we're all intuitive and we all can learn how to tap into intuition. But the trick to intuition is it's very, very helpful if you can relieve some of that anger, because it's going to open up your intuition and it's going to allow yourself to become even more clear, because you won't have that anger kind of hanging around you.
Whoa, that last part. Can we go back to that? When you said that part, there's so many questions in my head right now.
This happens to me a lot.
Yeah. The intuition. Okay. So hiring that guy. So let's say we're going out with a guy, starting a relationship with somebody, and he said, "Oh, I knew I should." There were red flags. Like, why?
Oh yeah, I've done that too. Sure, you ignore the red flags because you want them to be the perfect person, but they're not. You do it anyway. Then you kick yourself.
Because we like the potential. We believe in the potential that,
Cinderella story. Yeah, man.
We can mold them into,
I can change them. No, you can't. I am about to be 64 and I have lived a long time on this earth. And I can tell you, if you think you can change these people, I know from experience, probably not. I highly doubt it. Unless they want to change, in which case, give it a shot.
And then suffer the consequences. You get up in the morning and say, I shouldn't have done that. Like, okay, now how do I break up? Or whatever that is. But then so have you ever had this thought where you knew that something was not gonna go the way that it should go, and then you should have listened to it, but then you still went ahead? I don't know, to prove to show to people, or to prove to yourself that I could actually do it. Or you're like trying to go against the grain. But then after that, you thought that you heard it from somebody from source, right? But then when you go into it, it's like, this is not what I actually imagined. Now, I'm wrong now. So, can you tell which one is the real messages from the source and which one is the ego?
Source is not going to tell you to go out in traffic and kill yourself. Source is, and you can call source anything you want. You can call it your higher self, angels, Jesus, God. You can call it anything you like. It's the same energy. Doesn't matter. And if I use a word that people don't like, just substitute a word that you like. It's fine with me. But it's your highest thought. It's your most loving thought. And it's often the quietest. See, when I have a problem, I will look at people. And here's a kind of a business story. I was meeting with somebody. She wanted to start a concierge business. I teach people. I used to teach. I retired from it, but I taught people how to start a business. And she looked at me and she said, "Well, I just bought this business from my boss." Okay. And she said, and I said, we went through all the things. I said, "So what are you charging?" She said, $5. And I looked at her and I said the same thing. And I said, "Well, what if you have to do a really big job for them and it takes you hours and hours?" She said, "It's $5. I said, $5 an hour? She said, "No, just $5." And I looked at her and I said, "How are you making money?" She said, "I'm not. That's why I'm coming to you." And I said, "How did your boss make money?" "Well, she wasn't. That's why I bought the business so cheap." Okay, I'm banging my head against the desk at this point. I said,
I'm about to.
"Okay, this is easy. You'll just raise your prices." "Oh, I can't do that. It has to be $5. And I'm thinking, why can't you raise? Well, because all our customers are used to paying $5 and they won't pay anything additional. Okay. So I gave her a break. And when I say I'm going to meditate on this, that's kind of a code for I need to walk away and let the idea roll around in my head for a few minutes. So the little bird on its can actually provide me the information. So I literally walked away and I put it out of my head and I took a 5-minute break and I just let my brain kind of be clear because I knew my intuition, I knew my inner voice would tell me the answer, my higher self. I just had to get quiet. And when I came back, I had the answer. And I said, "What if you charge $5 for every 15 minutes of work?" She said, "I could do that." She's still earning birdseed, but at least it's more birdseed. And this was about 20 years ago. So I don't even know if she's still in business, but this illustrates how if you come to a crossroads and you know you did the wrong thing and you don't know how to get yourself out, walk away. Let it roll around in your head for a little bit, then come back. Get a pad of paper and a pen, or you can even use your cell phone. I don't care. And write down what you hear. Don't judge it. Just randomly write it down. And I want you to be quiet. It's called guided writing. So sit in a quiet place and get really quiet. And then whatever forms in your mind, I want you to write it down. Now, it could be words. Write down whatever words you hear. Don't judge them. Just write it. Write without thought. If you see things because you're clairvoyant, so you might see something in your head that doesn't make sense. Write down what you're seeing. It's like a movie playing in your head. Write down what you see. You might see colors. Write down the colors. You might feel something, love, hate, whatever. Write down the feelings. And before you know it, you'll be having a conversation and you'll get the guidance that you need.
Wow.
That exercise is in a book I wrote called The Little Bird on Your Shoulder. They're all available on Amazon, and most of them have an audiobook available too. My younger son and I did that. We're still talking to each other. Audiobooks are hard. You wouldn't think they are, but yeah, that was a journey.
Oh wow. Okay. So now that you're hearing, okay, you're writing down everything that you hear or see. So what about the feeling? And then
Write down whatever
you mentioned that.
if you're sitting there quietly and you've got the pen and paper and your mind is blank, a lot of people say that nothing happened. I didn't hear Jack. Okay. But maybe you see something. Maybe you're sitting there and daydreaming because we all daydream and you sit there and daydream and it's like, and write down what you daydreamed about. And it could be something from your own life. Write it down anyways, because it might be something that's very helpful that will help you make that decision. If you're feeling something, maybe you're feeling hungry. Write down, "I feel hungry." I'm not kidding. but continue to sit there. Don't get up and get something. Just sit there and take a sip of water and do it again and say, well, I'm feeling love. Okay, why am I feeling love? Why am I feeling love? And then whatever answer forms in your mind, whatever you come up with, write it down on the paper. Well, I'm feeling hate. Well, who am I feeling hate for? Write the name down because it's going to come to your head. Okay, I'm feeling hate for Tom. Keep diving in, pick it apart. Just like the unforgivable, I want you to pick apart the memories and forgive each piece of the memory. This is the same kind of thing. Pick it apart. And
You mentioned
sometimes
that you're
yourself is
also
the hardest person to forgive. This is the first book of 3, and I'm writing the second book as we speak. And the second one is going to be how to forgive yourself.
wow. I need it. Yeah. Yes. And then you mentioned that you receive messages, right? And you're very intuitive. I love it. You picked up what I was thinking. This is actually very, very, that's the evidence here for those listening. A couple of minutes before we got connected, before we started the interview, we were about 15 minutes late. And then you emailed me saying, should we reschedule? It's almost, or it's at least like is one of the options that I wanted to tell you, like we should reschedule, and then you picked it up just like that. It's like you could read my mind.
I don't
So
read minds, but words are given to me. It's the formal definition is clairaudience, and it just means I'm clear hearing.
yeah,
I actually could hear words, and it sounds like my own voice in my own mind, but I know it's not my own words because the answers I get aren't something I would normally come up with. That's how you know. It's that, some people, it sounds just like yourself in your mind, but if you're saying thank you for things and you think in your head you're welcome, okay, you're welcoming yourself. That's coming from a different place.
that's how you differentiate
That's how you differentiate.
messages.
So if you're saying, why did I do this? And you in your head it says, why did you do this?
Why?
But trust that little bird in your shoulder. It talks to me in various ways. We were wanted to move to another city. I live in North Carolina in the United States, and we were going to either move to the mountains of North Carolina or to the beach. So we went out to the mountains to look around. It's a place called Asheville. It's very beautiful. I wanted to like it, but it felt off. And it wasn't any words I was seeing. It wasn't any visions. It was a feeling. It just felt off. The people were beautiful. They were nice, warm, friendly. I loved the neighborhoods. Everything about it was a green light, but it felt off. And my husband and I have been married for 33 years, and he knows me. And he said, what's wrong? I said, it feels wrong. It just feels wrong. So we stayed an extra day because I wanted to like it. Still felt wrong. No matter where we went, it felt wrong. And we even found a house and a property we would have bought, but it felt really wrong. So we went out to the beach, and now I live by the beach outside of Wilmington. Well, either last year or the year before, a hurricane went through the western part of the United States and decimated the entire area, including the neighborhood we would have lived in. The whole thing was just gone. They haven't had a hurricane come through there in dozens and dozens of hundreds of years. People moved to the mountains because they think it's safe, but a hurricane went straight through and just destroyed everything. Yeah, trust that little bird on your shoulder. It will never steer you wrong. So when you're getting a gut feeling, like you're driving down the road and you always turn left to go home, but you've just got this feeling you got to turn right.
Yes.
Turn right. Take the long way. You might find out why you had to turn right. Maybe it was to meet somebody at the absolute perfect time. Maybe you were going to avoid hitting somebody. You may never know why you had to turn right and go the long way, but you need to be okay with that because whatever reason you might have avoided hitting somebody, maybe there was an accident over there. You'll probably never know what happened, but it could save your life. You could go on the internet and read about hundreds of thousands of stories of people from every walk of life who have heard that little bird on their shoulder and it saved their life at the last minute. I could quote you dozens of stories, dozens of them. I'm not the only one. But the trick is you can listen to that little bird in your shoulder purposely. You don't have to wait until you're about to die. It can do it, you can talk to it. We're not meant to be here on the planet without help. We're meant to have help. We're meant to have joy. We're meant to be happy. Our world is in a awful state and it's filled with negativity, so forgiveness is one of the keys. You can forgive anybody. You can forgive the football team that lost last week. You can forgive politicians, dare I say. You can forgive the war in the Middle East. What's it going to do for the war in the Middle East? Absolutely nothing. Going to do a heck of a lot for you, though.
Yeah.
Everything is forgivable. And if you're listening to this broadcast and you don't want to forgive, hey, I get it. That's fair. I want you to say the following words every day, 3 times a night for the next week. I completely forgive myself for not being able to forgive and the energy around this thought. Say it before bed every night for the next week.
I
And
completely forgive myself.
for not being able to forgive and the energy around that thought. And a little PSA, because I have to give people a PSA before the end of the broadcast. Several things are going to happen when you forgive. First of all, remember those water cells I was talking about? Well, people, they have to go someplace when you forgive, which is why I want you to do it
Yeah.
before bed, because your body heals itself at night. And most people, 9 out of 10 people, will get really, really, really tired when they do this work. And so you'll sleep and your body will cleanse itself automatically. If you do too many, I am an overachiever. I know that's a shocker, but yeah, I'm a little bit of an overachiever. So when I came up with this system,
I believe you.
I must have put down like 50 people. And I thought, this is going to be great. I'm going to be like a phoenix rising from the ashes. I'm going to be this brand new person when I wake up tomorrow. It's going to be fabulous. Yeah, it didn't work out the way I've planned it, because I did forgive many people on the list, but I spent the next 3 days in bed with what everybody thought was a stomach flu. It was not the stomach flu. It was my body trying to get rid of those water cells. So if you are in the bathroom for a little bit after you do this work, you're not sick. You didn't get the flu. Just breathe and know that it's just your body cleansing itself of decades of anger, more than likely. Now, your world is going to change too. As you forgive, you're going to start living in joy. You're going to start being happier. You're going to start smiling more. You might drop some weight because you're just going to feel better. Okay. Well, like energy attracts like energy. So you are going to attract new people in your life who are positive and who are thinking the same way you are. But on the other side of the coin, you're going to have the jackrabbits. I think today they call it ghosting. And there are people in your life that are just going to disappear. I had a bunch of them and they just disappeared and I've never heard from them again. And then there are the people you probably live with, they're probably family, who are going to try and sabotage it. Why? Because they like the old you. They don't want you to change. They like the broken you. They're used to it. And they figure if you change, well, then maybe they have to change and they don't want to. So they'll try and sabotage it. So it's going to be up to you to figure out who you want to keep in your life and who you don't want to keep in your life. You're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So decide who you want to spend the most time with. People that are really positive and forward moving, who really want to see the best for you, or energy sucking vampires. Your choice.
I love you, Catherine. Can I just say that?
I love you.
Okay, before we end the show, I got a couple more questions, but then you mentioned that you can hear messages. So I'm guessing, I'm just putting this out there. What do you feel about talking to me about me? Like, do you get like an aura? What's the auric field?
You really want me to tell you? I get messages no matter what. I actually see you on a successful
Yeah.
path. I see the podcasting going very well for you, and I can see you moving in a different direction. I can see you becoming a teacher of sorts, and I'm not saying teacher in a school, a teacher kind of like me being a teacher, this kind of thing. And I see, and they kind of want me to tell you to believe in yourself more. You have a tendency to overthink and kick yourself, and they want you to stop, quite frankly, because you're beautiful and you're joyous just the way you are. Don't let people talk you out of anything, because your gut, you've been wanting to do something for a very long time, and people are don't let them talk you out of it. Your path is brilliant and you're going to do very, very well. Just don't let the people around you talk you out of what you know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I was led to ask you that. That's why. I needed that. Thank you.
You can do it. Just don't let the people around you talk you out of it. Trust that gut, your direction, that new direction that you come quietly in your room wanting to go. Do it. You've got a great podcast. You've got a great group of people around you. Some of them are great. Just keep going in that positive direction. And the people, if they want to hang with you, they'll hang with you. But if they don't let them sabotage you. Just politely, I don't know how to say it. You don't want to say politely ask them, go away. No, that's not very nice.
Politely detach.
Yeah, politely
but then
detach and put in boundaries. How about that? That's a very clinical way to say it.
Yes, very diplomatic.
Very diplomatic.
Wow.
You could
Yeah.
just say toss
Y-
them,
y-
but people get they get angry when you toss them. Yeah, politely detach from these people because if they want to change, they'll come with you. But if they don't want to change, well, it's called vibration, and you're going to start vibrating. The human body, the energy field around you, is going to start vibrating a different way, and they're probably vibrating completely different. That's why bullies bully, because you're vibrating so different. It's actually painful for them to be near you. So there's so many times I'll shake somebody's hand and they'll just take two giant steps away from me. Why? Because I'm probably vibrating different from them and it's painful to them. I don't take it personally. And then there are the people that are attracted to me, and I'll shake their hand and they'll step a little closer because they're attracted like a moth to a flame.
Yeah.
Years ago, we went out to lunch with some friends of mine, and the woman, remember, I teach customer service, and she very politely took everybody's order until she got to me. Then she went to the other side of the table and she took a step back. I didn't think twice about it, but my concierge brain training kicked in. So I sat up a little straighter, was a little bit more polite, and I gave her my order. She ran to the kitchen. Run? Okay, maybe you've got too many tables. I tossed it. I didn't even think twice. She comes back with the food. She puts the tray on the table. She politely goes up to everybody and puts their plates in front of them. Me, she goes back to the other side of the table and she tosses the food across the table like a frisbee to the point where the sandwich was all over the place. And then she flies back to the kitchen. I thought she was going to come back and sprinkle holy water on me or something. My friend reaches over and whispers into my ear, she's scared of your energy. Okay, because I'm a little bit of a brat and I like to play with people. I was really tempted to say boo next time she came by me.
Yeah.
But I didn't. My concierge training kicked in. I was very polite. But that's the kind of thing when you're out in the world, that happens. I could be on aisle 4 of the grocery store and the aisle is completely empty. And when I turn around, it's full.
And it's so many people.
there's
Yeah. When we go to a
And they're
cafe.
around me reaching for the same thing. It's like, people,
Exactly.
I love you, but get the hell away from me. And
Yeah.
then there's the other opposite. I'll walk into an aisle and people will fall away.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I don't take it personally when people don't want me on their podcast or they shake my hand and they just kind of look at me. I don't take it personally because I know that my energy field is just so different from theirs that they just can't handle it. So it's fine. I used to take it personally when I was younger, but now that I'm older and wiser, it's fine.
This is my superpower.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. Although I have to admit, I'm tempted when when I'm in a store and there's more people in the aisle, I'm tempted to send the owner a bill because I've just gotten all these people into your store and they're buying stuff.
Yeah.
I should send you a
That's your
book
revenue
bill
for
for
the
my
week.
consulting.
Exactly. My energy, it's
That's it.
expensive.
And if you don't believe
God.
anything the two of us are saying, go test it out today, this afternoon. Well, tomorrow, because you guys are a lot far ahead of what I am. Tomorrow, test it out with people and shake people's hands and see what they do, and go up to people and see what happens. I guarantee, I promise you, you're gonna, if you pay attention, you're gonna notice it. You're gonna notice people just taking a very casual step back. And you've probably already noticed it in your life. And you're wondering, is my breath bad? Is my fly open? Why are they doing this? And you're perfectly fine. It's your energy. It has nothing to do with you. Don't take it personally.
I love this conversation. I can go on for hours talking about this. Okay, I wanted to say one more thing. You mentioned about the messages that you
Mhm.
gave to me. It's like, and then the question that I was asking you was actually more of me. I know that I'm in this right path. Like, this is what I've been wanting to do for the longest time. I've been preparing myself, worked my ass off, but that, the journey hasn't been an easy one. The reason why I named my podcast Your Worthless was because of, the struggles or the challenges that I face, people coming to me by trampling me, I had to fall down and literally crawl myself out of that pit. So now that I've gotten this thing that I want to do, I can't help but to think about those times.
I have an answer for you. I have an answer for you. I'm just not sure you want to do it on camera. One of the things I do for people is a few years ago, I started to get people's past lives. This is going to stretch so many people's brains to the point of pain.
I love it. I love it. Akashic Records? Are you talking about that?
I haven't managed to do the Akashic Records, but this is not the first time all of us have been on the planet. And this is the ultimate of intergenerational trauma, because you can take that trauma from life to life. When I get a hit on a past life, I am given the life that's tripping you up the most. I don't tell people's futures because I'm bad at it, but I will tell you the past life that is causing you the most problem is usually when people find me, and I can tell you now on camera, or we can end the podcast and leave people in a horror.
We could end, and then they can come to you, right? Oh my
There
God.
you go.
I
But
need
there is a specific past life that's tripping you up.
you can feel you're getting the messages. You're getting the
Oh, yeah.
message now.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we're gonna close it up, guys, right now. So a few more questions.
You're gonna get emails, man. You're gonna get emails from your listeners to say, "Come on, you can't just leave us hanging like this."
Yeah, you exactly. That is
You call
awful.
her and she'll tell you or she won't. But when I was saying earlier in the broadcast, when you get something traumatic, huge trauma, you think that it's going to leave and dissipate in the clouds. It hangs in your energy field, but it really hangs in your energy field, and you can travel with it from lifetime to lifetime. Reincarnation is real, people. And if you are scared of heights, for example, you might have been pushed off a cliff. In 2020, a friend of mine called me up at 3 o'clock in the morning. This was the very first past life I ever got. And he was really upset, in his 30s. He was a law enforcement officer, and he tried everything to sleep. He had insomnia, and he tried everything. He tried every pill. He tried doctors. He read everything. He watched videos. He tried everything. He even got sleep machines and the white noise. Nothing helped. So I was his last resort. He said, "Listen, Katharine, I'll do anything you tell me." It's like, okay. And it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, he woke me up out of a dead sleep. And all of a sudden I get this vision of this guy, and it was a sheriff in a town. And I knew he was the sheriff because I just felt that he was. And I watched, they were in bed at night. And I watched as his wife smothered him with a pillow and killed him. And he was beloved in the town. And I gave that vision to the young man, and he felt really right about it. And because if I would be trouble sleeping if somebody killed me in my sleep, but he was also having trouble dating. He really never really dated very much. Well, because he didn't trust women. Well, no, because one killed you.
Well, what? Yeah.
And after I revealed that life, I had him go through my forgiveness mantra to forgive that lifetime, to get rid of any of the leftover energy. And I followed up with him. And not only was he sleeping straight through the night, he was starting to date again. So it's a really good example of how your past lives can 100% affect you. And I usually get the life, I often get three, but I will always get one big one like that, like the sheriff lifetime, that's 100% tripping you up.
Okay. Now we gotta end this soon. Okay. Katharine, what is your heart's greatest wish?
I think my heart's greatest wish is that people would understand, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, that you are worthy to live a life of joy. You're worthy to live a life of happiness. It is your birthright. You're worthy enough to forgive people and live the life that you choose. You're not meant to live in a refrigerator box on the street. You're not meant to live in hate and anger and lack. You're meant to be free. You're meant to be joyful. It's your birthright. You got this.
If you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
You got this.
How
Simple,
can people reach out to you, Katharine?
You can go to Amazon. Most of my books are on Amazon. It's The Little Bird on Your Shoulder is the intuition one, and The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness. They both have an audiobook available in case you don't like to read. Or you can go to my website, and my first name, thanks to my mother, is spelled a little odd. Thanks, Mom. And it's KATHARINE Giovanni.com. And everything is on that. Everything in that is on there, including private session links and all that kind of stuff.
I thought that name is beautiful.
Thank you. Giovanni actually means John in Italian. I'm Italian by choice. My husband's half Italian.
Okay. There you go.
Hey, some people marry for money. Some people marry for food. We'll never starve. If you want to eat, go to an Italian. Don't email me. There are a lot of other nationalities that have wonderful food. I just happen to like
what about French? The
French
Frenchie.
food,
What
yeah.
about them?
Philippine food, absolutely.
You nailed that. I am Filipino by blood as well.
My family, not so
So
much. Yeah, my family will serve you a lot of alcohol, but not so much food. So yeah, go to his house, not mine. We're going to your house for dinner. I know your parents knew how to cook.
yeah, awesome. Wow. Okay, now that's a wrap on today's inspiring episode with Katharine and Giovanni. Thank you for your wisdom and dedication to continue uplifting others, Katharine. For our listeners, this has been your word list. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. Remember, if you've ever felt worthless, you are not alone. Your soul chose to be here to matter. And for that reason alone, you are worthy. A huge thank you to Katharine and to all of you for listening. Until then, I am Nick Nieras. Keep shining, keep growing, and always remember you are worthy and you are enough. See you in the next episode, and I can't wait for my reading. Thank you, Katharine. Hi, Katharine. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm fine. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for saying yes to be interviewed today. I'd like to introduce myself formally to you and to all of our listeners. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator of the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. Now, the topic today is forgiveness. Ooh, something that I struggle with, I think, the last couple of years. And I'm so excited to dive into this topic with you today. But first off, I'd like to introduce yourself to our listeners, and then we can get right into business. So, hello everyone. We have Katharine Giovanni here with us. Katharine is a 3-time award winning best selling author of 12 books, a dynamic speaker, intuitive, and forgiveness coach. Known for her compassionate and insightful approach, Katharine empowers individuals to navigate life's challenges by tapping into the transformative power of forgiveness and intuition. Now, her latest book, The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, Unlocking Your Power, offers readers a practical system to forgive and to release the past and move forward with clarity and peace. Wow. Welcome to the show, Katharine.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Now, before we get into the nitty gritty of things, can you share with us what was it like growing up as a Katharine Giovanni? Love this episode? Now, transformation doesn't end here. Head on to at holistic.lifestyle_with_Nick. That is on my Instagram. Or head on to my website, www.denignerasholisticlifestyle.com for more info on my coaching framework, which is the Worthy, Authentic, and Abundant Framework, digital guides, and my upcoming events such as retreats and master classes and workshops. Now, I also do intuitive readings where we get to check on your soul